Thank you for tuning into this how-to video regarding the project billing cycle billing event generator. In Mission Control, there are 5 billing type methods available on a project: fixed price plus expenses, time and materials, controlled on milestones, and deposit to T&M. The billing event generator, which is controlled on milestones, is a component that will allow you to generate a billing event or multiple billing event items for each milestone that is eligible to be billed on a project. This method will allow you to manually generate billing events from milestones with different billing types. This will work best for companies that want to use different billing options on the same project and bill all under one billing event. Let's check it out. The first thing you'll need to do is set up your billing settings. So on our control pad in the Mission Control console, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom.
The first setting would be the PDF generation. When you have this setting checkbox marked true, a process will run every 5 minutes to automatically generate your PDFs for your billing events that have been created. If you don't want to wait the 5 minutes for the process to run, you can also manually generate your PDF directly from your billing event record. Since we are manually creating the billing events, you will not need to set up your periodic billing for this method. And then you'll also want to consider your PDF template settings. If you need to provide an invoice label or credit note label for your invoice or credit notes, you can provide that in the PDF template settings, as well as any business registration number and logos that you would like to include in the invoice.
Let's check out the settings on our project. So on my project detail, I've set up the project name and further information regarding the project. I'll need to set the billing type to controlled on milestones, and that's where we will set which milestones will be fixed price and time and materials. I've also established a billing rate and a cost rate. So this is going to calculate the hours completed value, billable and non-billable for the roles that log time against this project. So this will be important for our T&M milestone. And then I have this set to be pulling the rate from the role record. The next thing you'll want to set is your tax label. So again, providing the tax, this is a sales tax label for my invoice. You can also invoice your customer on behalf of a separate business entity using the tax label, which will override the information that's displayed on your invoice. And then I have the billing cycle set to manual because every time we want to create a billing event, we'll need to use the billing event generator. All right, and then the next thing I have set are my payment terms. So this is going to establish the due date. So once my invoice is generated, my due date will update on my billing event 30 days past the invoice date. So that's when we are going to expect payment from the customer. All right, so let's check out our milestones on this project. So for this project, I've created 3 milestones and I've added a few actions to each milestone. I'm just going to go to the Create Milestones page and make sure that Display Existing Milestones is turned on so that I can see all of my settings here. So I have 3 different milestone billing types. One of these will be set to fixed price plus expenses. So that's going to include any expenses logged against that milestone. I have my time and materials milestone and a fixed price milestone. This will need to be populated on the milestone that you would like to include in the billing cycles. So for my fixed price plus expenses, I've set my fixed price as my milestone budget. If I want to invoice a different amount, we'll be able to do that in the generator. So I've set the milestone budget for the fixed price milestone. Again, you'll want to leave the milestone budget blank. You can populate the milestone budget, but our time and materials are going to determine the amount for that milestone. You can also populate further details on your project. This is all that's going to be required for the billing event generator. So let's check it out. Going back to my project, I want to create my billing event from the billing tab. Now, in other cases, you can create your billing event from the billing tab or the related list on your project, or even by going to the billing event object within Salesforce. But for this particular method, you'll need to create your billing event from the billing tab because there's going to be a different button. Instead of selecting new to create our billing event, we'll need to select generate. Let's go ahead and select that, and then we'll enter details regarding our billing event. For my billing event, I have the name populated. I've set my type to invoice as opposed to setting it to credit. And then I've set the status to draft. So there are 3 status values available: draft, issued, and paid. The first status value is what you'll set when you're creating your billing event. Once your PDF has been issued to the customer, you'll come in and manually update this billing event to issued. And then once the full amount for this billing event has been paid, the status will automatically update to paid. I've set my invoice date and due date, as well as established a summary. So this is going to show on my invoice. I will not need to override the account and contact from the project level, but I do want to make notice of the auto add expenses. If I have expenses relating to my project, and what this is going to do is create a separate line item for any expenses that are related to just the project record. So getting into our first milestone, which would be the fixed price plus expenses. This milestone is going to include any expenses that are logged against it, and create a separate line item for it. So these are only going to be expenses relating to my design milestone. In this case, I have my budget of $3,500, but instead of invoicing the full amount, I want to bill just 50% of this. We could see as I've entered the percent to bill, the amount has automatically updated. I also automatically get my line item description. Now moving on to our build milestone, this will be the time and materials. Now we'll need to auto add any time logs and expenses that are relating to the specific milestone. You can select a start and end date range. However, I'm going to allow it to add any time logs and expenses that have not yet been invoiced and have been approved. And then lastly, we have our fixed price milestone for the deliver, and we have the milestone budget set to 3,000. Instead of using the percent to bill, I am going to use a manual entry, and I'm going to bill $2,000 of the 3 that's available for this milestone. We can see the percentage of that has already updated for us as well. So we got our total for our fixed amounts, and then once we generate our billing event, we will get our full amount for our time and materials. Select save, and let's take a look at our billing event. I can see the details from the billing event generator. I also get some information regarding the financials on this billing event. So we can see that the amount has populated, which is a bit higher from the fixed amounts that we've seen in the billing event generator, which means that our time logs and expenses have been pulled over. So we'll check those line items out in just a moment. And then you can also see that the tax rate and tax label have been pulled over from my project. Quick note that the PDF URL has not been populated, and what that means is the PDF generation process that runs from the control pad has not yet run. So within the next 5 minutes, that process will run and generate our PDF, but we're also going to manually generate our PDF. But first, let's take a look at our line items. So in our related lists, we can see that our billing event items were automatically created for us. The first will be the expenses that are relating to our project level. So this is the Rip Curl website build project, and it looks like we had one expense for $375. So we have our first fixed price line item for that design milestone where we invoice 50%. And then if we jump down a little bit, we can see that we also have a separate line item for the expenses that were relating to the design milestone. The next line item would be for our deliver milestone. This would be the fixed milestone with no expenses related, which we set for 2,000. And then at the bottom here, we have our time log and expenses relating to the build milestone. And again, you can see that there is a separate line item for the time log amount, as well as a separate line item for those expenses. So we have 3 different places where expenses were pulled into this billing event. Let's take a look at our invoice. So since this process hasn't run yet to generate the invoice, we're going to go into the quick actions on our billing event and select view PDF. All right, so taking a look at our invoice, we can see that our logo has been pulled in, our tax label has been established, our company information is also shown on our invoice, and then our account and contact information have been populated as well. I have my invoice details as well as my summary, and then I have a description of all of the line items on this billing event. So this is going to take the value in the description field instead of the billing event item names. All right, so we can see that our amounts are populated here. Our tax has been added as well. We get our total and a balance due. I can also choose to include the time logs and expenses that are relating to this project. So let's update this invoice, which we'll first need to go to our project and select that we would like the time log and expenses included on our invoice. And then the next thing we'll need to do is go back to our billing event and regenerate that invoice. Now, the first view that we're going to get is going to be the summary view. So I have the invoice template set to summary. Instead of allowing 5 minutes for the process to run and update our PDF, we're going to manually generate it. And now that we've made updates, you can see the time log summary and the expenses have now been included, as well as further details regarding the time logs, a breakdown of the hours and the amounts for each individual time log, as well as the breakdown for each individual expense. Now let's take a look at a detailed view of this invoice. So going back to our billing event, I'm going to switch the invoice template to detail, select save, and we're going to generate that PDF again. Alright, so now we can see on our billing event there are more descriptions for our line items. So we actually get the billing event item name as well as the description, the budget and amount invoiced. You'll also get a breakdown of the percentage being invoiced for this line item, and then any amounts remaining for once you start establishing your payments. And then we still get our time log summary and expense summary. Now let's take a look at sending this to our customer. So back onto my billing event, I have the email activity added to my billing event page layout. And because I've done so, I can send this invoice directly to my customer. I can select which contact to send this to. I can also include the billing event notification client email template. When I insert this here, you can see that the information and details from the invoice have been populated. My subject line has been populated. I also have the view PDF link available for the customer. Now the link that's included here would be the same link that's available on our billing event record. And this link will allow the customer to download and save the invoice without having to log into Salesforce. So this will be externally available. You can also view the PDF from the files and attachments on this billing event, or you can download, save, and print from the View PDF button as well. What we're going to do is create a payment for the total amount outstanding so that we can see how this affects our billing event. So let's assume that we've sent this to a customer, we've updated our status to issued, and then we're going to go in and create a billing payment. Now you can create your billing payment from the related list on the billing event record, or you can go back to your project and do so from the billing tab. You want to define your payment name, date, amount, reference number, and payment method. Alright, so I've entered in the details for my billing payment. I'm going to select save. And then I'm going to take a look at my invoice again to see how this has been affected. I'm doing so by selecting View PDF. Alright, so now we've had a change to our invoice. That Generate PDF button has shown. So let's select Generate PDF. We can now see on our invoice that we have the total amount that was due, we have the total amount paid, and now we can see that our balance due has been updated to $0 now that that payment has been issued. This will also update in the details on our billing event record as well as the project record. We have now created a billing event and invoice from the billing generator and applied a payment. And that will be all for this video. Please feel free to check out further videos in the project billing series. And as always, thanks for watching.